Hey, Genesis family. This week's word of encouragement comes to us from the Message translation of Matthew chapter 11, verses 28 through 30, where Jesus says, "Are you tired, worn out, burned out on religion? Come to me. Get away with me, and you'll recover your life. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't put anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me, and you'll learn to live freely and lightly." I recently read the book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, and it's been the best book I've read in years. The author, John Mark Comer, makes the case that the culture we live in tries to force us to live at a pace faster than what God intended, and that this world will not slow down for us. It will not accommodate us. We have to intentionally slow down if we want to experience and enjoy God. This is one of the reasons why God gives us gifts like the Sabbath, or silence and solitude, or the gift of simplicity that teaches us to declutter our life, which is a common theme around this time of the year. But of the many wonderful things that Comer says, and I highly encourage any of you to read it, he introduced me to the idea of slowing. Slowing is the process by which I intentionally choose to control my pace, to do it at such a way that I'm able to manage it well. One of the suggestions that he gives is to make a commitment to drive the speed limit and come to a complete stop. I decided to do that. The first time I did it was on a Sunday morning on my way in for worship. It was dark. It was early morning. I was on a rural road. I commonly traveled about 40 miles an hour or so, but the speed limit's 25. So I made a decision. I put my cruise control on, and as I slowed down to 25, everything within me felt a rush that I needed to go faster. I felt like my truck was a horse that I needed a pat on the behind to get it to go faster. And I realized in that moment that the problem is within me as well as without me. In other words, I also learned as I made this commitment and have followed through with it since that people behind me want me to go faster as well. That I feel the pressure of people coming up on me trying to tell me that I need to hurry up. But I've made a decision to slow my pace down, and one of the reasons why is because that's what I see Jesus doing as I read the scriptures. In one of his most famous scenes, Jesus was told that his friend Lazarus was sick and about to die. Yet Jesus remained where he was for 2 whole days before he moved in the direction toward his friend. That told me something, that the person who's the most loving person in the universe was not in a rush, even with someone that he highly valued. Or that Jesus was on his way for the healing of someone who had come to him for help, and along the way he stopped and attended to a woman with the issue of blood and took time with her. He was not in a hurry, no matter where he was. In fact, Comer makes the case that we don't enjoy God and experience God fully until we learn to live a life that is slowed down at the pace that God wants us to live at. So I've made a new commitment. I've lived my life for so long in a rush, always in a hurry, always moving from one thing to the next, and I am hearing the words of Jesus teach me to learn the unforced rhythms of grace. In fact, my word for 2024 is rhythm. When you think about the word rhythm, you think about the word pace as well, and harmony. In fact, when you introduce a rhythm, it all of a sudden becomes compulsive and attractive to those around you. They start tapping their foot, enjoying the rhythm that you're introducing them to. They get to experience the rhythm. So friends, let me encourage you to hear the words of Jesus, especially around that word, learn the unforced rhythms of grace. That we need to learn to slow down and live at the pace that God wants us to live at so that we can truly enjoy and experience all that God has for us. By the way, this morning on my way to work, as I was driving the speed limit, some deer jumped out in front of me, and I was fortunate enough to be able to react. I realized in the moment that God had conditioned me not only to enjoy an experience, but to protect me from the damage that can be done when we live life in a hurry. So I want to encourage you, friends, if you have the time, find the book, read it, and ask God to help you learn how to live at the pace that He wants. That's my commitment for 2024. Friends, I also want to share with you some good news. I'm happy to report that we have exceeded what we had intended to need for our budget in 2023. Your faithfulness and provision has seen all the resources come in, and we begin 2024 in a solid place financially. We have a lot of money in our bank ready to meet the needs immediately, and I want to encourage you to practice that generosity all throughout the year. And together we make a big difference. Micah Hope Ministry is in a great position as well. We enter 2024 well positioned, and that is due to God's faithfulness and your responsiveness in generosity and service. I hope that you were able to also watch the clip that Channel 5 recently did on our Pick Me Up program. The city of Fayetteville recently approved a contract with us, or renewed a contract with us, to continue being the managers of that program. I've included a clip of that in this e-newsletter. I hope that you'll watch it and be inspired by what God is doing through this church. There's lots of great things happening at Genesis Church. We're getting ready to do a slightly revised worship schedule starting next Sunday, January 14th, where our early service will be at 8:30, and our morning manna and life groups for Next Gen and adults will be at 9:45, and then we'll keep the 11 o'clock service as usual. Our Swahili speaking congregation will meet at 12:30 so that everybody can have the space they need to worship undistracted in a way that we can enjoy our community and fellowship with one another. There's also exciting opportunities for you to participate in a book study on love first, and also in an encounter evening on Sunday nights where we do a deep dive into the Gospel of Mark. In addition to that, all the many wonderful ways that you can serve in the various ministries that we have, especially with Morning Manna and Actions in Truth. So friends, as we begin 2024, let me encourage you to dive in to what God has for you at the pace in which God calls us to live, so that together we can continue to be the unique witness that Genesis Church is in Fayetteville and in Northwest Arkansas. I want to say thank you once again to those who prayed for us in 2023 and gave to us in 2023. I have great expectations for 2024. May God bless us. I'll see you Sunday.